Very good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss Unit 4 of Animal Biotechnology course. In this unit, we are going to discuss about how are we going to use the hormones in order to regulate the growth of the animal. Uh, First, we will be discussing about growth hormone in this session. We'll directly go to the section. First one is going to be of manipulation of growth hormone. So how are we going to use these hormones in order to benefit the growth of the animal, not only growth of the animal, milk secretion of the animal, and other development of the animals. Before we get into the details about how are we going to manipulate these growth hormone, let us understand what is hormones. These are chemicals released by cell. Chemicals in the sense it's made up of amino acids and protein. And these are going to be released by a gland or a cell in the gland or an organ, which is the part of the body. And upon releasing of this hormone, it is going to affect the cells in other parts of the organism. So a very small amount of hormone is required to alter the cell metabolism. That means whenever it is required, only then the hormone will be produced, and then the produced hormone is going to regulate the cell metabolism of the cell or the organ or the animal. In general, the hormones have the following effects on the body. One, it can stimulate or inhibit the growth, depending upon which type of hormone is secreted. It is also involved in suppression of apoptosis, that is programmed cell death, or it can trigger the programmed cell death. It is also used to control the mood swings. Apart from these two important functions, it also controls our immune system. Basically, it regulates our immune system, and it also regulates metabolism, and it can also control the reproductive cycle of the organ. What are the functions of growth hormone? Upon releasing of this growth hormone, you can see that there is an increased skeletal growth. Followed by that, you also see muscular growth, and there will be an increase in the protein synthesis. Basically, amino acids uptake will be very high. And with respect to fat metabolism, it induces the lipolysis, thereby it generates energy from burning the fat. And on carbohydrate mechanism, it is going to decrease the storage of carbohydrate. That means there will be a decline in the rate of glycogen synthesis. Instead, these carbohydrates will be used for energy production. What are the effects of growth hormone? This is the first hormone that we are going to discuss in today's class. First, we'll start to discuss about growth hormone. And these growth hormones are going to be produced by start from hypothalamus, wherein the hypothalamus secretes two important hormones, one for promoting the secretion, one for inhibiting the secretion. And we call that as growth hormone releasing hormone, which is going to promote the secretion of growth hormone. And the other one is called as growth hormone inhibiting hormone, which is also referred to somatostatin. And this hormone, once it is secreted by hypothalamus, it reaches the pituitary gland, especially the anterior pituitary, and then it will start to induce the secretion of growth hormone. Upon secretion, these hormones have two effects. One, direct effect. Direct effect are seen with respect to carbohydrate metabolism. That is, it is going to be promoting anti-insulin effects. That means it act on carbohydrate metabolism, increases the blood sugar level, and it prevents the uh, formation of polysaccharides like glycogen will not be formed. And it also has an anti-insulin effect. Apart from that, it also has an effect on fat metabolism, thereby increasing the lipolysis, so that through the degradation of lipids, energy can be acquired. Okay, this is called as a direct effect, and it also acts on the liver and other tissue to induce secretion of insulin-like growth factor. Again, this insulin-like growth factor has plays a very important role in feedback mechanism. That means it can able to control the release of GHRH, or it can able to stimulate the release of inhibiting growth hormone, inhibiting hormone release. So that way it can able to regulate the level of growth hormone. That means only when it is required, growth hormones will be secreted. Otherwise, it will be inhibited. And when we start to understand about the indirect effect of this growth hormone, it has an indirect effect on development of skeletal system, especially it increases the cartilage formation and skeletal growth. Simultaneously, it increases the protein production, right? So there will be development of muscle systems are also associated with the secretion of growth hormone. What will happen if there is a decrease in the secretion of this growth hormone? We call that as dwarfism. Since the organ pituitary is involved in secreting this growth hormone, we call it as pituitary dwarfism, wherein lack of growth hormone released from the pituitary will be observed, and resultant to that, there will be delayed growth, and the person will be looking so small. It also applies for animal, short stature, and the body development is also going to be proportional. That means the entire system in the entire organism will be seen as a short stature. It is not that your one part of the organ is going to be bigger and the other part of the organ is going to be smaller. All the organs are going to be smaller so that the person will look short stature. And how it is regulated? Regulation of growth hormones is always controlled in the pituitary gland, and the release is always in a pulsator manner. Pulsator manner means it is not constantly secreting. Okay, only when it is required, this will be secreted. And it is also observed that these growth hormones are secreted very little amount during the day, and it increases during the sleep. That is one. And apart from that, during the puberty period, there is an overall increase in the secretion of growth hormone. And this also plays a very important role in weight loss through circadian rhythms and the food control or food deprivation. The first hormone that we are going to discuss is going to be stomatotropic hormone. It is also called as growth hormone. Right. It is synthesized, as we discussed, from control is from hypothalamus and then from the pituitary gland through the growth hormone releasing hormone reaches the pituitary gland in the hypothalamus. It induces the production of stomatotropic hormone, and this is the approved by US FDA to be used in animal, especially for a cow. These growth hormones are produced from bovine. Okay, so we call it as bovine stomatotropin, and it is frequently used for increasing the milk production in the dairy cow. How can we manipulate this growth hormone? Okay, that is very important. When the growth hormone is produced from the pituitary gland, it also induces in the liver to produce a hormone called as stomatomedians. And high levels of stomatomedians have been found to increase the growth and also increase the breeding of pig, sheep, cattle, and chicken. And hence, the stomatotropic hormones are used to manipulate the growth of various animals. And it is the anabolic properties of growth hormone, which in turn is going to be combined with the ruminant hormone or biologically inactive in humans. So we have to procure it only from the animal. And the problem with the animal is we cannot use or collect too much of growth hormone from the animal. So we have to depend on the modified form of the growth hormone in dairy industry. Uh, by subjecting this animal with the growth hormone, it was found that there was a significant increase in 20 to 30% of the milk production without affecting the growth, cross composition of or the coagulating property of the milk. And as I told you, human pancreatic growth hormone releasing hormone has been demonstrated to release the stomatotropic hormone in cattle, but it is also seen that this concentration has been observed following an excess of dietary protein and after administration of stomatostatin, which is released from the hypothalamus and pancreas. And how much amount of this stomatotropic hormones are used? It is 140 microgram per kg body weight. And by injecting this, what is been observed? It is observed that there is a muscle called as longissimus dorsi that is going to be the muscles which are associated with the spinal bone. Okay, so those muscle system seems to be increased in the area, and thereby there was a decreased fat content was observed. That means more muscle and less fat of the animals are observed. So that is the reason why the somatotropic hormones have been used in the animal industry. Now coming back to how can we use this hormone, we had already discussed, but what is the source? Previously, it was found that these hormones are procured from the cow, which is uh, sacrificed, and the pituitary gland is taken, and the stomatotropic hormones are being extracted from the pituitary gland. But it is not; it will not be sufficient for using it for multiple animals. So they started using recombinant bovine growth hormone. Okay, so this recombinant stomatotropic source from bovine was started to use in 1930, wherein they used to take the gene of the bovine growth hormone and then they will inject it into the E. coli system with the help of a plasmid, and then they will start to secrete the growth hormone so that they can able to isolate the enormous amount of this growth hormone. And in 1930, they found that by injecting this bovine growth hormone, they found a significant increase in the milk production. And how these hormones are going to be produced? This is going to be produced uh, using E. coli. So they will take the plasmid and they will also take the gene of interest. Here it's a bovine growth hormone. This segment will be cut through the restriction enzyme, and the plasmid will also be subjected for restriction enzyme digestion, and then this gene of interest will be incorporated into the plasmid, and they will inject the plasmid into the E. coli, and they will start to grow the E. coli. Okay, and these E. coli, when they are multiplying, they will start to secrete this bovine growth hormone into the media, and we'll isolate the media, purify the bovine growth hormone, and then we will inject it back to the animal. So this is how it is going on. These are the effects of stomatotropic hormone, and if you can able to see it majorly increases or controls cell division, and it increases the protein production, and it decreases the lipid by undergoing lipolysis, and with respect to carbohydrate metabolism, it increases the monosaccharide level in the blood, thereby it inhibits the polysaccharide formation, glycogen synthesis, and it also has an effect on mineral metabolism, and this mineral metabolism plays a very important role. We'll be discussing that in detail when we discuss in the next topic. So these are all the information that you should be knowing about stomatotropic hormone. In the next class, we'll start to discuss about the other two hormones, which is going to be adrenocorticotropic hormone and the thyroid hormone. With this, we come to a conclusion for this session. I hope this session will be useful for you. In case of any queries or doubt, you can always get back to me. Thank you.